What's up everyone? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Janine the Alchemist and this is another episode of Show and Tell. So the environment is a little bit different this time. There have been a lot of changes in my life, as I mentioned in my last video, and I'm sure we'll talk a lot more about that coming up soon. But right now I'm excited because this week's guest, she's another good friend of mine, and I just so appreciate the conversation that we had. I wanted to kind of give you guys, that's just water, by the way. There's water running outside. That's what that sound is if you hear it. Maybe I can wait it out. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. I'm looking at I have the little see no evil, hear no evil cherubs on the floor there, and immediately I looked straight down, and the one that's like covering their ears is like this while I'm hearing that sound. Whatever. I'm so sorry if you hear that sound. It's just running water outside. My dad is washing his car. This is my childhood bedroom. And there are just a lot of transitions going on in my life right now. And I guess I just thought it was a good time, since this series has been kind of like sentimental and I've been showing you like little artifacts that are sort of like touchstones in my life. You know, kind of like crystals. You know how people, they like to put intentions into crystals or they remind themselves with crystals. For me, I don't so much like feel that way about crystals. I'm just a very sentimental human being. Items remind me of things, and since I've traveled a lot, since I've had a lot of life changes, I've had a lot of family members who live far away from me or pass away, or friends who live far away. For me, these items are just, like I said, they're touchstones full of memories and warmth that kind of make it so that I can bring my home anywhere that I am and always remember who I am in hard times, when, especially back when I was in postpartum. So I wanted to show you this box I have, where I have all of my, I just now put everything in here. It looks kind of overflowing, but it's just because I was looking through it. I just wanted to tell you guys, this series is here because when I was younger and I became a new mother, and I was like when we were living in our little condo, sometimes those times are hard and lonely and you have no idea what's going on, and there are growing pains when you're going through your 20s, where like maybe you have friendship breakups. And for me, I came to the realization I had a very close friend who never actually liked me, and that like blew my mind. And I also had people around me who didn't resonate with me, and I couldn't understand why I wasn't understood. But basically, there were times in my life where I was in places where like no one was really in my corner except for like my immediate, like my husband and my kids and I. And I just felt so disoriented. And when you feel like people are against you, it was hard for me to find myself and feel any kind of security outside of myself and my relationship to like the divine or God. And what I ended up doing is, in my room and in my closet and in my house, and when I traveled in the different places that we went while we were traveling, I would put pictures of like my grandmother who passed and my grandmother who's still alive. I put things that were hers that she gave to me up in my closet to remember. I kept notes from my godmother and a picture of my godmother with me in my closet. And at the time, my relationship with my mother, by the way, has always been kind of rocky. So, but I still appreciate, you know, that she gave birth to me and the things she taught me, and I still find comfort in the good memories that we had. So I would put up, when it was like good memories for me, I would put up pictures I had of her, notes I had from her, and it was those things that really helped me to find my center, find my inner mothering of myself, I guess. And I kind of got that from the yogic practices as well, because it encourages you to sit with yourself and cultivate an intuition and cultivate just a sense of like what resonates with you and what doesn't. Like what is me? What are my feelings, and what are just the feelings I'm absorbing from other people? And especially in those times where you don't really know what's going on relationally, or when you're figuring out friendship, and we all go through times where we got to be on our own. Getting a sense of like how I perceive myself and how that has affected the world around me. Remothering myself, connecting with my inner child, realizing who I was more from like through like a God's eye view instead of through my, you know, not being able to see the forest through the trees. What was I saying? I ran out of space in there. Is it focused? Yes. Basically, I don't know what I was saying. I'm saying that we go through growing pains. We all go through, like when you're going away to college, when you're having a new job, you move in on your own for the first time, you become a new parent. Sometimes you just can't see the forest through the trees. Sometimes you're just so in it. And sometimes, I mean, we all have to find that we all have to be able to, sometimes it can be hard to know who you are, especially when you're told who you are by other people, and sometimes we don't even know why we make the choices we make, and things I've learned, and that's why I have this series. And this is kind of the conclusion of this season of the series, and then I'm probably going to maybe change it up and revamp it. Here are some highlights. So this is a journal that I would journal in every day and do my gratitude practice, and you know, over time I added like just things to it, memories with my childhood friend Jenna, my notes from my yoga teacher trainings back when I was 19, and then again in 2016, a photo of me from when I was aspiring to be a film editor, a picture of me meditating as a kid to remember like who I was, notes from my friends, memories with my friends from around the world that I've traveled with, love notes, a tiny copy of the Bhagavad Gita that I got from Lake Shrine a couple years back. Ooh, I'm going to open it to a random page. Let's see what it says. Know that in all cases, whatever in existence is powerful, glorious, and beautiful issues from but a spark of my splendor. And a name tag from my first job at Six Flags. It's orange because I was not 18 yet, but that didn't stop me from getting hit on. A watch I was given from my graduating high school. It's a Goofy, who was my favorite Disney character. It's a tradition in my family to get a watch for your graduation. I was given a nicer watch too, but this one's fun because it's backward. My mother worked at Disneyland, and I had wanted to be just like her when I was a kid, so I didn't live near Disneyland though. I lived near a Six Flags. Mala beads from my time with with learning from Yogananda, the guru. He's no longer alive, but learning from them, and some of the rose petals from that ceremony. A pendant. It's of a mom and her baby, and she actually sent it to me to remind me of my inner mothering of myself, and obviously that was very inspiring and helpful to me as I learned to be a mother. Some seeds from Ojai and some petals and wheat. My kids and I would always collect these types of things because it was like magic, and I would put them around our house. And it always felt like buried treasure that we would find. A blanket from my son when he was born. A perfume from my grandmother. Estee Lauder. Still smells good, still smells like her. She left it here last time she was here. Actually, and I took it. And I'm so glad I did, because that was the last trip I ever saw her. And whenever I smell it, it reminds me of her. An illustrated copy of my book, Shadow Work. Of my first book that I wrote. The other baby blankets and clothes from my babies. A tiny cauldron I found at Home Goods that I would use to throw my thoughts in the fire. I would burn pieces of, use safely and wisely when you use fire inside. I would burn like leaves of eucalyptus that we would get at the farmer's market, and I would think about thoughts and feelings, and then I would let them burn and burn out in here, and it would smell so good and so healing, and it would help me release negative thoughts. And I just have so many love notes, so many memories, and so many notes, and I used to keep some of these notes out so that I could always remember when I had people around me who were always tearing me down. I could always remember who I was, remember that I was loved, and always find a way to combat those things that were tearing me down with positive things. A feather that my father found outside. I think it's a hawk feather, a red-tailed hawk feather. I think that they're illegal to have, but he found it and he gave it to me. And I like to save stuff like that after I clean them. It was much less damaged last time, but I've, you know, smudged with it. Sometimes, especially since COVID, everybody's really been talking about healing. I feel like my time of healing is kind of over. I'm kind of over healing. That's why I'm like kind of putting them all back in the box to help me and remind me another day, because I feel that I spent so much time healing. I'm so grateful of all the things I've learned about myself and all these practices. Thank you for putting up for it with my emotional self. My gosh, I just am that sentimental of a person, okay? When you grow up in like a chaotic environment, I guess it's just you just wanna spread love, and when there's so much love, I just end up crying, and that's just me. Oh yeah, and my childhood dog, Beanie Baby, Rover, he was kind of attacked by an actual dog. Do you guys remember him? Beanie Babies. All this to say that my time of healing all the time is kind of done and come to a close. And I cherish those times, I cherish what I've learned, and I will always remember what I've learned. But now I feel like, now that I know who I am, and now that I've like come into my womanhood, and I kind of know exactly what I'm doing. And of course, for me, this has been a year of surrender. Like, there's been so much manifesting from me, so much visualizing, so much journaling, so much like wanting and seeing and seeking. I'll always be a seeker, but now it's like, I'm just gonna live. And it feels so good, and it's okay that I transform, and I don't know who I'm gonna be and what's gonna happen, but it's exciting, and I just hope I can be a good example to my kids, and I don't know. And the last item I wanted to show you guys, it's my tarot deck, and I'm so sorry if you guys feel like tarot is like scary. For me, I'm not afraid of that stuff. I'm not afraid of objects. If when you know the history of it, the actual card deck is where the tarot deck originates. All of the suits in a card deck have to do with different parts of, like, you know, royalty, different caste systems, like what is it, gardening and the war, and the different like parts of society. And what a tarot deck is it's basically was invented. This is an Italian deck, which is why I loved it. The French and the Italians, they like to argue over who invented the tarot. I don't really care. Somewhere over there, pretty much. A tarot deck is it's a book of life, which is what an actual deck of cards is. It's every single archetype. It's a book of every archetype of the human experience. And in the major arcana part, that's like the larger events that happen in life, and then the smaller suits are just like everyday things. I believe that there's deep wisdom in being curious. I also know that Carl Jung studied a tarot deck. For me, like I've said before, I'm a pattern recognition person. When I was a child, I thought I was psychic, and some people still think I'm psychic. I don't know what I think. I don't think I know anything. I know that I cannot tell the future. That's for sure. But yeah, I can recognize patterns. I'm pretty good at this, and that was fun during COVID, sort of learning about myself. Sometimes the tarot can kind of mirror back to you what you're thinking and help you think through things. It's like a mind map. It's kind of laying out something on the table. Whatever, I'm not here to convince people to use it, but basically I'm saying I have no qualms with it. I don't really believe that there are spirits guiding it. I believe that people are the spirits. Okay? When there's evil spirits watching you, I think that's just people. When there's evil, when there's earth angels around you, or like angels looking out for you, for me that's always been people. That's always been people who had my back, like my godmother and my friends who would send me things in my time of need. But yeah, oh my gosh, 9 of Cups. These are all just little pieces that I use to hone my intuition. I use to learn about life. If I've learned anything, it's just where I put my intention. If I put my intention toward good, that's the best I can do. If I try to turn my ear toward honesty and having a mind of curiosity, that's the best I can do. Being open to God. I'm not going to call it the universe again, but you know, being open to the higher wisdom, being willing to listen to the things people say, and listen to your gut and your heart on whether or not you think it's correct. And we make mistakes and we learn from mistakes. Little heart from my daughter that she made me last week. basically understand how the guidance works, and sometimes tools help us, sometimes we don't need them anymore. Sometimes it's time to keep on going and find a new way and make your own way. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoy the interview with Yanique. Check, check. Hello. Let me just get comfortable. I'm so excited about this. Okay, I've been waiting for this for a bit, and I'm gonna pull this up.
Is that lapis?
No, this is it's literally a mood
From the old days.
And blue means I'm happy, you see?
Oh, yeah.
I got it for like $4.
Oh, I love it.
I don't know, I saw
So
it.
nostalgic.
Exactly,
Yeah.
I couldn't resist. That's funny, thank you for noticing. Welcome back to another episode of Show and Tell. Today we have my friend Yanique, and it's a super exciting episode because I have been waiting to have for this moment, honestly, for the past few weeks. Because I know it's going to be good conversation, good company. So Yanique is a writer, a spiritual facilitator, and a mindful mother, and she perceives life's journey as an opportunity to contribute to conscious evolution of humanity. And you're a student and practitioner of many healing modalities, and you do sort of practice in a very joyful way. I've noticed, I know that you wrote that in your bio, but I have experienced it everywhere that you go, all the events and all of the stuff we've done. I do feel like you bring a huge element of joy, and you sort of live it and you radiate it wherever you go.
Thank you. I'm so glad to hear that. That's such a beautiful reflection. I feel like you're also very joyful and especially calming and centering.
Wow, thank you. I've been told that this week. I feel very hyper, so that's nice to, I feel very energetic, so that's nice to hear.
That it's still very, like, contained.
somehow contained. One of the reasons why I asked you on here is because I'm genuinely curious about your journey and like how you sort of came here, and then ultimately we'll get to our question of what sacred means to you. But I'm curious, what kind of led you to this?
My journey of...
Like what led you to have a heart to facilitate?
Oh, okay.
Like how do, I guess I've noticed whatever rituals or practices you have, how you move through your life, and what kind of led you to those practices and those opinions.
Well, I always say I feel like I was born on the spiritual path because I've always been somebody who's very curious about the other realms, like what creates this reality and what allows us to be here and what happens after we leave this reality. So as a child, I always asked a lot of questions, and I actually got really deep into Christianity. I remember watching your deconstruction video. I was like, oh my God, we have like such a similar backstory.
Wait, what, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was deep. I was like thumbing that Bible, and then this one guy was like, is it a Bible or a sword? And I had to be like, thank you for checking me, sir. Let me contemplate what I'm doing here. And so I had a lot of moments like that. And then what really led me out, or I would say in a different direction, because I really still think a lot of that's valid if you're coming from a place of your heart. But what led me in a different direction was grace. I felt like, okay, well, if grace is what it really is, then certainly it can't just be a select group of humanity, you know? And as I was having that thought, I was walking in a Borders bookstore and I saw this book called If Grace is Real, It's Real for Everybody. And that was the beginning of,
That is so synchronistic to be thinking about that.
Yeah, I was thinking it and I saw the book and I was like, whoa. And then I read that and I just kind of kept walking my path. And as I walked my path, these different modalities have presented themselves to me and they've supported me. And so because they support me, when other people come to me for, what's happening with, this life situation, or I'm being challenged here or there, I just did what was working for me, and people were like, wow, this is great, you should offer things. And so that's how the spiritual facilitation life began.
It does tend to, if it's like really truly what we're living, you can't help but end up attracting, creating that and facilitating that. So that's really, really beautiful. I didn't know that was your journey. Maybe you told me and I don't
know if we got into it.
No, I saw it on
your channel. Because I was like, oh wow, it's the same story. But you know, we don't have enough time to be like, girl, let me tell you how it went down for me. But
I know. Well, I've realized that my journey is very similar to a lot of people's. So, and especially with women of color. That's when I went and I talked about this like on someone else's channel, and I noticed like a lot of women of color, our stories are very similar.
Wow.
Not everybody, but, and I agree with what you say about it's not that I want other people to stop believing in what they believe in, and if it's serving them and if it is radiating light in the world, then I agree, like I wouldn't want to take that from them, but it's just, I think differently.
Yeah.
So
you just gotta, you know, be self-reflective. Like even when that guy had called me out, I had to be like, yeah, this is supposed to be loving. Why am I, you know, if you keep reflecting, then keep bringing yourself back to the purpose, back to the roots, then you won't be harmful.
Is this a Bible or is it a sword? Interesting.
Yeah.
So then, okay then, what does sacred mean to you?
For me, I think sacred is how we describe something that's essentially indescribable. In our physical reality, we have a way to describe the scent. That's something you smell. That's the scent. Taste, you know, something you eat. That's the taste of it. Or sight, something you see. But it's something that you can't quite grasp with the five senses, but you can feel it in a way. And that is how you describe the taste or the sound of the divine. I think it's sacred. It's something that describes that essence of divinity.
So does that have something to do with what you've brought here with your glasses of water?
Yes.
I'm very curious. I'm going to pan down and show this in a minute, but does that all tie in? Which is,
yes.
And I love that when it comes to how we live. That's part of why I'm doing this also, sight, taste, sound, like how we can, because I think that this is a good way that we could sort of convey these concepts through the camera.
Yes.
And show other people how to do it. Okay, do you want me to move on to this?
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with
that. Inevitably, when some of those things show up on your journey, you're not like shocked and dismayed. Assist and support us on our journey here. And these are things that I use in my own practice. I have a flower essence spray, a holy water that's actually meant to clear your auric fields, as many of your community probably knows, are outside of the physical body. And then we go a little bit more internal. We go to the skin, and we have a herbal oil here. And this is an oil made with mugwort and yarrow. This is here to help us facilitate all the things that we already do. Live intuitively, commune with nature, and tap into the natural abilities to heal ourselves that exists. And then now we go a little bit deeper. We go inside the body, and this is a flower essence. And Dahlia is a beautiful flower. She's very resilient, and she's known for bringing forth emotional strength and a deep inner connectedness with self. I guess what we'll do is we'll add our flower essence. Now with this one, you need to add 4 drops.
That's so satisfying.
ASMR.
I was thinking that. She knows.
I do. I love ASMR.
It's just, I think, you know, as a somatic practitioner, it's just very satisfying.
I get the tingles. So that's that experience. And then the other 2, I want you to experience those as well.
Oh, okay. I'll experience them with you.
So now this water is infused with the Dahlia essence. So as we drink it, it's giving us that same energy that the Dahlia has, the emotional resilience and the inner strength, and it's very powerful to just give yourself that subtle energy throughout the day. You can just put that in your water as in your giant water cup, and you can refill it as you go on. And so what I like to do is work with different flower essences at different periods of my life. So if I'm realizing that I need emotional support, then I would buy a Dahlia essence and I'd work with that in my water. And then perhaps I feel like I need to be more out and more seen. Maybe I'll buy some sunflower essence and work with that within the time. So I try to let the flowers support me on whatever season I find myself on in life. Yes, so now we have our Dahlia infused water to support us. But first, I want to start off with auric field. Because like I said, I feel like my spiritual journey was very outward to inward. Like if I was to suggest anything to anybody, I might say like, oh, start at somatic practices and then go to like all of the esoteric stuff. But that's not what happened to me, you know.
Oh, did it happen more like?
It was like all the way out there, and then slowly it was like coming in like, okay, what can you smell? What can you hear? What can you taste? You know, so that was just, it was intense, but
Launched into space and then brought back down to
yes.
earth. Oh my gosh, I've thought about that.
That's what
You don't want to go too hard. You can also burn out your
Yes.
synapses
Oh
if
my
you
gosh.
try, you know, going all, especially if
Nobody
you're not
would
ready for
recommend
certain
that.
meditations.
Nobody would
Right.
recommend it. It's not recommended. Okay.
Some people's journey is
go to,
more.
yeah. Please go to a somatic practitioner first, and then continue to let your guides and your teachers and just your own intuition expand you as sees fit. But yeah, my path is different. So we're gonna start with clearing our auric field. So I would invite you to close your eyes, please. Ooh. So, ooh.
It reminds me of my grandmother.
Oh, I love
The
that.
smell, I'm
Yes,
just now
Dahlia.
realizing that was in her perfume.
Oh,
Oh
how
my
sweet.
gosh.
Grandma's here with us.
Yes. I know, I'm such a softie, okay?
I see.
So then, do you just take in what you experience?
Yes, I
Very
take
fresh.
it in, and now I bring with me this energy of going with the flow to whatever it is I'm doing. So if you have something coming up that you feel like might be a little bit chaotic, or you don't know exactly what it's going to entail, or you just want to keep yourself open to the process, you spray some of that and then you head out. And I usually like to use them when I host cacao ceremonies or any kind of events or gatherings, but I'll usually use the one for heart opening.
That makes sense. It's just better for events.
Yeah,
to be more
so everybody can, you know, feel comfortable and keep themselves open and receive what's being offered. Yeah.
But I could see leaving
Yeah.
and that comfort being in the car.
Exactly, keeping it with you.
Yeah.
And you're going somewhere, and you're also bringing it into the space.
Are we going to drink this?
We are.
Oh,
But
I'm getting ahead
second
of
of all, so now we're going into the skin, and we're starting with As the Witches Teach from Mythic Medicinals. And I love these herbal body oils. I actually just started using these once I had my son because I needed more support physically. And they came into my reality, and I was like, oh yeah, this is what I need. So let's keep you a little bit.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'll take a
I'll
little
put
bit.
this down.
And I often just let my intuition guide me as to where I might want this to be. So mugwort is really good for our intuition, and yarrow is really feminine. So because we're teaching, I'm going to put on my throat chakra.
Okay, then I'm going to do it too.
And as you're practicing with the oil, it's nice to just really feel into your own sensations. I often find that it does help to bring a sense of calm to the nervous system. And this oil in particular, I do feel like it empowers me to teach and share and to embody my whole self.
Feel confident to speak.
Yes.
You know, this is so special that you are into this as like a new mother, because usually we don't even have a moment to stop. But when I had more time, because I didn't start consistently till my kids were much older, because I had to like figure out the flow, and I was a little bit of a mess.
I get it. It's supposed to be a mess. I don't know how to use like as much support as I try to get from these tools and things. It's still a mess. You know?
Of course.
It's still chaos. But I'm like going with the flow, and I'm like learning what the witches teach me.
But these are the things. These are the practices that I feel are so important for women. That's why I'm getting all excited.
Yes.
This is so important for women because these practices not only have like a spiritual significance and like a health significance, but they also are teaching us to prioritize ourselves
Yes.
and pour into ourselves and reset, which is the ancient knowledge. And you probably are already going to say all this.
No, please elaborate. Go ahead.
No, it's my whole thing. Well, when I started doing that, I feel like just everything improves. Like lymphatic drainage improves, your attention improves, and then you're also getting that loving touch that we need.
Yeah.
And it just makes a huge difference.
It does. It does. I really, for me, it's at night, like when I get the chance to actually like shower and like oil myself and put on my lotions, and I feel like that has what has kept me from the waiting jaws of postpartum depression that will just yank you. But you know, my practices have kept me, and also my community, you know, being around others in my family and just redistributing your energy in a way to where you don't feel like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders alone, you know. And I love that you brought up that it's ancient knowledge and ancient wisdom, because you can feel that. You feel the support of the mothers and the grandmothers that came before you, you know, when you engage in these practices.
Yeah, so even if you are in a space where you're alone and you're not, and you haven't found that community yet, because community is a huge thing.
Oh, man.
It's a huge game changer when you do, but we all end up in spaces sometimes between. At least we can remember that we are not alone in that sense through these practices.
Yes.
That's how I feel.
Yeah, of course. And there's so many great companies, women-owned and that are ethical, that are providing these resources for us to all support ourselves with.
Yeah, I might be looking at that right now.
Yeah. So we went from the auric field and went to the skin, and now we're going internal, and we're going to ingest our Dahlia. So it's very subtle medicine. We only use 4 drops in this entire glass. So as you're imbibing it, for you, I would say maybe you can bring to mind grandma and anything she wants to bring towards you, or your mind's eye, you know, as you ingest.
Okay. Oh, I drank all of it.
Oh, nice! I love that.
Because I'm not supposed to do that.
No, you follow your own instincts. You needed it all.
I felt like water has never been so refreshing.
Oh, nice.
Because you know, like how we do the practices where we sit with things. I don't believe I've done that with water in so long. So I couldn't even really taste the oil, but it reminded me of like a fresh spring to just think about it. Wow.
Yes.
You're really reminding me that I needed to sit down and have like a moment.
You're having the moment now.
Yeah. I didn't even realize it had been so long.
Yeah. I know. I feel like I ebb and flow out of different practices as well, because I have so many things. Like I said, I practice a lot of healing modalities, and sometimes it's like you're with something for a few weeks, and then sometimes you're with something for a few months, and sometimes something falls out, and then you're like, oh yeah, Nadi showed me.
How did it make you feel?
It really made me feel like as soon as I took the first sip, all of the muscles in my face were like coming to a deep relaxation. So I feel like the emotional strength piece of it was probably needed. Because, you know, as a mom, your nerves be getting vexed. So sometimes you're not even aware of, you know, on the deepest, most subtle levels of the musculature, how you're like maybe holding or tensing or anticipating. Or, you know, and my son's just out there, you guys, so I'm like, is he okay? I'm actually doing very well.
You're doing great. Even this, I notice that sometimes when we do practices, we like, or I do, I used to like shame myself when I would miss them. And I realized like when you said there's grace and there's like compassion, and so this is all just like a suggestion that is going to help you and ground you. But what I was going to say, even you were thinking like, oh, my kid and whatever, and you're doing great. But even if it's okay if you weren't, and you're running outside and doing what your body and what you needed.
Oh my God, I love that you brought that up, because that was one of the things when I became a mom that was shocking to me. That I was like, why am I so discombobulated? But it's like that's a part of your body like recombobulating itself, you know, like it's reintegrating to this new way of being. And it's almost like, you know, when rocket ships, we'll go back to that. When rocket ships are coming back into Earth, there's a lot of turbulence.
Yeah.
Because it's like you're completely changing the energy around you. So it makes sense that it's gonna be a little bit, rocky before it stabilizes. So yeah, when you're discombobulated, just know you're still in the process.
Exactly, and your senses are going outside of you to, primally.
Yeah.
And also our bodies, we don't even replenish all the minerals until and maybe like 3 years after having a baby.
See, somebody needs to be telling people that. Because you're like, why am I not normal yet? Girl, your minerals is off.
And I think this would probably help.
Yes.
In some,
sure. Yeah. Just to like shuttle you through that period of like, as your body is like recalibrating itself.
Oh, did I? For too long?
No, it's all perfect. I love it.
Sit quietly for a minute.
It's so enjoyable.
See, this is what you have to look forward to. I think it's that my kids are in school. I think that's really what happened.
I'm waiting for the Everwild day to just come along.
Oh my gosh, I loved Everwild.
Yay!
Do it! Yes. Thank you so much for sharing this with us.
Thank you for sharing this with your community.
Yes. Well, I want them to glean from... I just want people to be able to have these conversations and see that there's a lot of different ways that we can ground down and connect. So it's really special that you brought this and shared it yourself. And
nice.
On the internet, for the internet commenter people.
Have fun, you guys.
So where can we find you?
You can find me right now. I am writing my blog on Substack. I have a publication there called The Herp. And you can find me at @𝑠𝑐𝑎𝑠 That's Why, also on Substack.
I love her Substack. I get her emails, and you are a beautiful writer.
Oh, thank you.
It's very positive, and it's uplifting, and it's real too.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's really good for mothers, in my opinion. You probably anybody, but as a mom, I feel like it's very, very good.
Nice. I'm glad to hear that.
Okay, so I'll see you guys next time. And I'll have all of her links to everything down below. Like this video if you liked it, and subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you next time. And like this video if you want to see more videos like this video specifically, and so I have your feedback. You can dislike it if you want. Any feedback's fine. Whatever. I've got lots of playlists of a lot of things, and yeah, because it helps me make better videos for you guys, and it helps me know what the collective is asking for and wants. So anyways, I'll see you guys in my next video. I'm holding up my Beanie Baby because I hadn't touched him in a long time, and I don't even know what's happening right now, but this is happening. I'll see you in my next video, guys. Bye.